I hope you guys know Rumi, I think, but the best way of knowing Rumi is to go through his work, his poetry. Otherwise, there's a lot of stories out there about who he was.
What's the historic time?
So this is 700-800 years ago. He was born in Persia, Iran, but at the time, Balkh was a city in Iran, but later, like a couple of hundred years ago, Afghanistan was created. And Balkh is no longer existing near Mazar Sharif, it's closest. So Rumi belongs to Persian Sufi tradition. Because of Mongolian attack, his father, when he was 12, fled in Persia and went to Konya, which was part of Byzantine Empire, part of, I think it was Roman Empire. The reason they call him Rumi is because of his association to Roman Empire. He's not, in fact, a Roman. He's more Persian than Roman. But later, when Ottoman took the area where his grave and tomb is, they said, he belongs to us, but obviously the language is Persian and they were Turkish. So there's that kind of debate, but Rumi didn't believe in anything that divides humanity. He didn't believe in colors. تا که بیرنگی اسیر رنگ شد موسی با موسی در جنگ شد. It's like when the clarity identified itself with the color, even the followers of Moses waged war against each other because they had different colors or whatever. So his work is all about not identifying yourself with anything and staying clear from identification, because through identification, ego is born. Identification with race, gender, age, creed, whatever, religion even. So he believed that he belongs to the religion of love. And then as you dig through deeper, I just realized that love is something mysterious. It's as if, you can't really label it. As in the Neynameh, which is the book of the starting of Masnavi, talks about reed is being the most empty thing. And it doesn't have its own character. It doesn't have anything inside it. Inside it, in fact, is hollow. So, and in the beginning, pretty much in the beginning of the book, he says, بشنوید ای دوستان این داستان خود حقیقت نقد حال ماستان. Oh, my friends, hearken to this tale. In truth, it is the very marrow of inward state. In Persian, we call it, or I don't know, with Arabic, it says Masnavi al-Ma'navi, al-Masnavi al-Ma'navi, which means it's a spiritual poetry book. So it's all about internal game. But in a lot of kind of places, you can probably read it externally, but this is believed to be not the case, at least not his intention for the spirit of the book. It's all the personas you see, like in a story that probably in the next few weeks we're going to get started on it as well, which is the king and the servant girl that he falls in love with. So you've got so many personas. All those personas are part of the psyche of one person on his spiritual journey that needs to understand. He falls in love with the servant, with the slave girl, and then the slave girl is in love with a goldsmith, and there's a love triangle, and the king, they bring a lot of doctors to sort out the problem, physicians, they can't, and then a representative of God arrives, tells him in his sleep, tomorrow he will arrive, and he is me, he's representing me. And then when he arrives, he says, oh, I actually loved you, and I thought I loved her, but you are the reason. Maybe that's why I was, she was supposed to get me to you. And then you just realize, you go like, is the goldsmith the ego? Is the servant? Is the servant the brain, the rational thinking? Is the person, the king, is the person on his journey to spiritual freedom? Is the medic who comes to help, is he that kind of connection with the divine? So there's all kind of, and then we go to read it in details, but it's extremely coded. It's not to be taken literally. Apparently like this Persian doctor even, he said, this doctor came and kind of let that goldsmith to die, and this is against the vow of, our vows as doctors. And he just took it really literally. So, yeah. All my friends, hearken to this tale. In truth, it is the very marrow of our inward state. So try to find yourself in the poetry. He said بشنو از نی چون حکایت میکند از جداييها شکایت میکند. Or another version, Persian version is بشنو از نی بشنو این نی چون شکایت میکند از جداييها حکایت میکند. Listen to this read, which is Nicholson's translation is more kind of is based on the latter version of the Persian version. Listen to the read, how it complains, telling the tale of separation. که از نيستان تامرا ببريدهاند در نفيرم مرد و زن ناليدهاند. Saying, ever since I was parted from the reed bed, men and women have moaned in unison with my lament. So in Quran, in Islamic tradition, is kind of there's this saying, it says "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un," means we are coming, we came from God, and we're going back to God. And there's also this understanding of Fustu Brabba Ruhi, means God blow his own soul or life into man through blow, wind. So the reed here embodies humanity, and it doesn't have his own soul, his own life. It is the beloved wind that runs through it. But there's also this understanding that after Adam and Eve had the fruit of knowledge, they were expelled from heaven. So there's that longing of going back to where they come from going back to heaven when they were with God. So, and as if Rumi embodies the pain of humanity, wants to go to that purity and joy of being in heaven. It says, my voice, or the voice of reed, is lamenting the pain of the separation. Is crying the pain of my separation, or the separation of humanity. But later he talks about, سينه خواهم شرحه از فراق تا بگویم شرح درد اشتیاق. I want a bosom torn by severance, that I may unfold to such one the pain of love desire, or the pain of separation. So again, he says, not everybody can understand my pain of separation. And is it possible you sit there and just kind of like look that way? Otherwise, I'm gonna go I'm a filmmaker as well. I'm a filmmaker by trade. Yeah, check this. So when I look at you, there's more light pours on my face, and there's a better angle. So he says, you know, my pain is not going to be, I cannot connect with whomever unless that person has that understanding that they don't belong here. They've been uprooted, they've been chopped off, taken from some place that is not the world of ego, this egoic world that we're stuck in, all these chatters and noise and anxiety and pain. No, he says, I'm the bird of the sky, and I'm not, I don't belong to dust. It's been already some days that they made a cage from my body. There's that kind of my life, the life force in me belongs to somewhere pure and heavenly. But this is where I'm stuck. And Rumi is one of the people who feels the pain of being separated. هرکسی کودور ماند از اصل خویش باز جوید روزگار وصل خویش. Everyone who is left far from his source wishes back to the time when he was united with it. So again, you know, from the source, from our true nature. It says asl khish means our true nature. Whoever has been separated from where they belong or their true nature, there will be a time that they will long to go back, you know. Julia and I kind of come from another country. Every now and then we might miss our hometown, our home country, or whatever, our home culture. So, but imagine if your belonging or your life force belongs to another state, otherworldly, or is not really of ego. There's that longing. And Rumi says, I'm not really trying to say that to anybody, only a person who has felt this can connect. من به هر جمعیتی نالان شدم جفت بدحالان خوشحالان شدم. In every company I uttered my willful notes. I consulted with the unhappy and with them that rejoice. It says, you know, I went to the happy people and to the sad people, and whoever I spoke to, they thought, I belong to them. I'm part of their club. But it's like a flute, you know. It gets carried from a spiritual ceremony like the wailing dervishes and gets to a wedding and they play it there, or an orchestra, or, you know, it gets taken to different places. And everybody thinks, oh yeah, this belongs here. This is where it needs to be. But it says, none of them, هر کسی از زن خود شد یار من از درون من نجست اسرار من. Everyone became my friend from his own or their own opinion. None sought out my secret from within me. سر من از ناله من دور نیست لیک چشم و گوش را آن نور نیست. My secret is not far from my plaint, but ear and eye lack that light where it should be apprehended. This is the sound of the flute, or my poetry, my stories, or the pain of mankind that I'm representing here to come out of me is not separate from what I'm saying. It is here. If you can connect to it, you will feel it. تن ز جان و جان ز تن مستور نیست، لیک کس دید جان دستور نیست. Body is not veiled from soul, nor soul from body, yet none is permitted to see the other. So Nicholson translated John into soul, but John practically means life. It says the body, you see the body, but body and life force are intertwined, connected. They are very aware of each other. But you can only see the body, not the life. Life is not visible.
Like a soul, we don't see soul.
Yeah, but soul is controversial from Rumi's.
Like John is like a soul, is invisible.
Yeah, but Rumi has this understanding. Rumi has this understanding that, بمیرید در این عشق، بمیرید در این عشق چون مردید همه روح پذیرید. It says, in the beginning, not everybody has a soul. You gotta go through a journey to gain soul. And then when you got that soul, you become eternal. Not everybody becomes eternal just off the cuff, just naturally. So this is the book that tells you how to find soul through his traditions. But life inside you, says John, the very life force in you is not visible. Like electricity is not visible unless you plug a lamp. You will see it, you will see the life in me through my action, through my behavior, through whatever, from the signs of me being alive. But the actual life force inside me is not visible. So this is says John, it didn't say ruh. And آتش از این بانگ نای نیست باد، هر که این آتش ندارد نیست باد. This noise of the reed is fire. It is not wind. Whoso hath not this fire may be naught. So, going back to Ney in Old Persian is a way of saying no as well, in colloquial languages as well. Ney means nothing, no. And also, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un, the word la, or la ilaha illallah, the la means no, and Allah has a la in it, and this la means no. So, this nothing in a poetic, different Sufi teachers have kind of played with it. This nay, la, nothing, and the reed being the most empty thing. So in here it says, Hərkəsi, be naught. Whoever doesn't have this love, be naught. So this nothing, nay, la, Allah, la, which is represented to something which is not of matter or of the existence that you can comprehend. We're coming from Nistán, which means the place, this is the source of this nothingness, or la, or nay. And then you may, if you don't have this love in you, you may find that nothingness, or that thing which is not a thing. May you find it. Or literally you can read it, be naught, may God kill you. If you want to take it literally, in Persian poetry, it says like, whoever doesn't have this love, it better dead. You can read it this way as well. نی حریف هر که از یاری برید آتش است این عشق کندن نی فتاد. Just Tanzajano, آتش است این بانگ نی و نیست. Yeah, and this is the, you know, if you smoke shisha or whatever cigarettes, you blow, you suck the air through it, and then the fire turns on. Or if you imagine you've got fire, you want to blow the fire, you blow in it, right? And it says, آتش است. The noise of the reed is fire. It says, it's true that the beloved God or whatever, or the person who sings it blows air from one side, but it's fire that comes from the other's end. And it says, what kind of fire? And whoever hasn't got this fire may die or may find that nothingness or find the fire. آتش عشق است که در نی فتاد. جوشش عشق است که در می فتاد. It says, it is the fire that is being even blown into ney, into reed, into the flute. So again, and then it says, fire and love is the same. The one who blow air into the reed is love. The what is being blown into it is love. What comes out of it is love. This is talks about the essence of humanity, which is what it comes from, what it carries, and what comes out of it is fire, is love. And جوشش عشق است که در می فتاد. It says, you know, where wine ferments is the bubbles that coming through it. Those bubbles are not air, those are fire as well. And may, or wine, in Sufi tradition, is that sweet intoxication of love. May, wine, it's a holy thing in Persian literature. Because a person who is very aware doesn't have, or very alert and rational, is not to be let in this game. This game is not for the intellectual person. So wine has a very spiritual place in Sufi tradition, but not quite the literal wine, but the effect of wine, that drunkenness. And it says, what created the wine is that love, is that air, that the same air that God blow in mankind, the man blows through the flute, the air that comes and ferments the wine. نی حریف هر که از یاری برید پرده هایش پرده های ما درید. The reed is the comrade of everyone who has been parted from a friend. Its strains pierced our hearts. It says the reed, or me, this reed, نی حریف از یاری برید. This nothingness, this reed, is a friend of whoever has that sense of I don't belong here. There's something is not quite hitting home in my life at the moment. It says the reed, or the sound of the reed, or I as me as a room, as Rumi, as mankind, can relate, or the person who doesn't feel something is off. I guess somebody who's dancing and kind of happy and has a good salary, good family, good everything, is not for that person. It needs a person who feels the pain. There is a certain level of pain in them, and through that pain I connect to you. نی حریف هر که از یاری برید پرده هایش پرده های ما برید. This is that reed or that blow, or that sound which is of fire, burnt our curtains, pierced, strained, its strains pierced our heart, but پرده‌هایش means the curtains, darید means ripped them off or burnt them, and that fire, that love, burns through our curtains. And what are those curtains? It refers to, actually again, it's the mystery of Persian language, you know. It's curtain, and at the same time, in music, we've got parde, which is the octaves and kind of musical hierarchy and status, is also parde. This is burnt the whole of music structure that we've built. It burnt it through, burnt our curtains. And it says that fire is also, the reed has barriers inside it, like bamboo. You can't really blow through it when you cut it. There are, there are sections inside reed which is blocked. You can't use it as a reed. You need to put something hot, like a metal thing, inside it and open the reed. It says what cuts through that curtain, this curtain is the love, is that blow of beloved, the God, is or as Shams puts it, that fire burns the vast meadow, which is of all those grass and everything, of knowledge. So it will burn through our understanding and our knowledge and our egoic layers and everything. It burns through it. Love does it. You know, the Islamic tradition from Muhammad's school is all about following Sharia. And so goes pretty much with Abrahamic religions, although Jesus was talking about something else of, you believe in me, I'm the Son of God, and then you find redemption through believing in me, I'm the Son of God, and sacrifice myself and my blood and all that business. And then you have Buddha on the other side that talks about if you see Buddha, kill it. This is how somebody asked Buddha, aren't you afraid of death? He says, how can I be afraid of death when I don't exist? So we've got this layer of different mysticism around, but they have different schools of thought. But Rumi says, don't try to go and find all these schools. It's easy. Let love burn all the knowledge that you've accumulated, and then you're there. You don't need to work hard to get anywhere. Let love do the job. So it's trying to find the alchemy, and it's kind of like talks about the alchemy because Persians were really good at alchemy, and Ibn Hayyam and Razi and a few of them, they were trying to turn copper into gold. And through that kind of desire to find gold, they created the chemistry. همچون زهری و تریاقی که دید، همچون دمساز و مشتاقی که دید. Whoever saw a poison or antidote like the reed or love, whoever has saw a sympathizer or a longing lover like the reed. Zahr means poison, tiryaq means antidote, and also I think the word later on tiryaq was kind of withdrawn from that word. I think it's got Greek roots, but because opium was quite celebrated in our region, I think it has its roots in China, or no, was introduced to China somehow by English. So later, that word kind of, I think, has its roots in tiryaq, which means antidote. But later was the word tiryaq was drawn out of it. But let's not get concerned about that. It says it's both the poison and the antidote. It's both, isn't it? It's your best companion, the best lover. It can fulfill you in a way, it means it can feed all your needs. Or love is the answer. Love can be the answer to all your questions in a way, or that blow of God coming through the reed comes fire. All that business is what you really need. Obviously, we're not talking about the material, needs. We're talking about the spiritual and psychological needs. All you need is the beloved love or connection with the love. نی حدیث راه پرخون می کند. قصه های عشق مجنون می کند. The reed tells of the way of full of blood and recounts stories of passion of مجنون. This is عشق آسان نمود اول ولی افتاد مشکل ها. The Hafiz says it looks easy in the beginning and it's hard at the end. But Rumi says it's hard in the beginning, looks hard, but when you come inside, so they've got a bit of like change of, they have different philosophies around it, but here Rumi says it's a well full of blood. You gotta lose yourself. You're gonna witness your own massacre in front of you. It's not an easy, but later when you come in, you say, the guy is God pointing his arrow towards me, and my worry is how if the guy misses, not kill me. So there's that kind of love is coming. They come to your bait with their own will. So there's that attitude. In the beginning, it looks bloody and dangerous, and I'm going to be suffering so much. But as you come in, you just find out, it's all, heaven. There's this story, or I don't know whether it's real or not, but Abraham was thrown into the fire, and fire turned into a meadow full of flowers. So again, it looks fire from outside, but when you are brave to go inside, then suddenly the true sweet nature of it is revealed. Because love is quite selective. It chooses within the Sufi tradition. It chooses. It doesn't want to let everybody come in. I've heard actually there's within Jewish tradition, they're not really trying to invite people to their kind of circle. Like Christianity, Islam, and other religions, it's kind of like, come be part of us. So it's quite similar to Jewish tradition, religion of love. It looks quite hard and tough. You're going to lose yourself, you're going to burn, you're going to die, and then you don't. Just to make the timid, the people who have attachment to the egoic world, to not come forward. Is not place for them. So here, نی حدیث راه پرخون می کند. قصه های عشق مجنون می کند. The reed tells the way of full of blood and recounts stories of passions of Majnun and other lovers who lost their lives and shit. There's so much blood in this. محرم این هوش جز بیهوش نیست. مرزبان را مشتری جز گوش نیست. Only to the senseless is this sense confined. The tongue hath no customer save the ear. So, hush means intelligence, means life. Bihush means the one who is drunken or doesn't have life or is kind of awareness. Going back to wine, it says the sound of this flute, or the voice of what I'm saying here, the secret of my secret is not going to be disclosed to the non-drunken one, to the conscious one, to the intelligent, to the philosopher. Is not going to be disclosed. They see the veil. They cannot penetrate into it. محرم این هوش جز به هوش نیست. The secret محرم is not going to be let in. Mahram is all the family hold, the household. They're going to be kept outside if they are not drunk or they're alert. مرزبان را مشتری جز گوش نیست, like the way that the tongue, if there's no ear, it falls down. It doesn't have any function. So here it says, hush, which means life, is looking at the lifeless. It's this kind of customer, or the match is the lifeless, the drunk. Or John, which is life, or whatever you want to call it, that kind of love is seeking the drunken, the person who is kind of intoxicated by the sweet melancholy of love, is seeking only for those. محرم این هوش جز بیهوش نیست. در غم ما روزها بیگاه شد, روزها با سوزها همراه شد. In our woe, the days of life have become untimely. Our days traveled, or our days travel hand in hand with burning grief. روزها گر رفت گو رو باک نیست, تو به من ای آن که چون تو پاک نیست. It says, from this separation, the pain of this separation, my days have gone. I'm an old man now. But don't worry, because I have the beloved. روزها با سوزها رفت, and روزها گر رفت گو رو. It says, if they've gone, no problem. تو به من آنکه چون تو پاک نیست. You stay, love. You stay with me. And with you I find eternity, eternal life. So suddenly I'm out of the paradigm of time. If my days is gone and I have found you, you stay because you are my eternal life. With you I have everything. هر که جز ماهی ز آبش سیر شد, هر که جز ماهی ز آبش سیر شد, هر که بی روزیست روزش دیر شد. Except the fish, everyone becomes sated with water. Whoever is without daily bread finds the day long. It's not as simple as the translation. So within Sufi tradition, the world of love is the world of water. And the fish is the one who enjoys water. But if you're not a fish, you find water boring, painful, it will, you find it unbearable. You want to get out. هر که بی روزیش روزش دیر شد. Like a merchant who's seated at his shop waiting for the customer, and the day has gone and no customer has entered. It gets bored. The way the person who is not he's not drunk, haven't been intoxicated by love, will find this sound, this love, this state boring. So it's not for anybody. در نماید حال پخته هیچ, پس سخن کوتاه باید و سلام. none that is raw and is raw understands, or none that is raw understand the state of the ripe. Therefore, the word must be brief, so farewell. It says, you know, the young, the youth, the teenager, whatever, the person who is not intoxicated by love again, or the intelligent person, will not understand what I'm talking about. So they find it boring and they don't get what I'm talking about. So cut the conversation, cut the talk, and say farewell, goodbye. And it is said that Hussam al-Din al-Chalapi, his student, asked him, why don't you write a book? Why don't you write a book for your followers? You know, people going to Attar and to other people in the Sufi tradition to find wisdom, but you are the top in the game. I suggest you write a book for the future generations, a lesson book, like a teaching book. And he says, oh, funny enough, I wrote this, which could be a good match for the beginning of it. I wrote these verses, and then Chalapi took it. It says, okay, then we're starting. And he did not let go of Rumi and ask him to say it. I'm going to write it. You just say it, just rhyme. And then whenever they were playing music and dancing, Rumi start carrying, singing something, and then there were him and other people in charge of writing it. So then 10, 15 years later, the book finished, but they say it was kind of finished because he died. So 26,000 nearly verses came out of him, and then became the biggest poetry book in the world and one of the richest, insightful lessons about, like, basically a map to get out of to understand the trap of ego and its grip over ourselves. I understand this is 7:30, and we shall stop because there's another class